Hi, readers. Welcome back to The Adulterous Whore. I'm your host, Stacey. I have the absolute pleasure today to introduce you to a phenomenal author I just found, and I'm so glad that I did, Irene Lee. Hi, Irene. How are you?
Oh, good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually doing phenomenal today, which is really nice considering it's Friday and I was desperate to get here. So, tell everybody about your book. Now, you sent me a copy of it, Where Memories Lie. I thought it was absolutely wonderful, but why don't you tell my
Thank
readers what
you.
it was about?
Thank you. So my story takes place in present day Chicago in the US. And it's magic has always existed. It's a world where magic is known, it's not hidden, and it's like any other skill that you're born with, like being able to draw well or sing, but only about
Right.
20-30% of the population have it. So as you can imagine, that causes some societal problems with
Oh, yeah.
mundane people being a bit worried about those that have magic. So my book
Mhm.
is about two youngish men. They're in their 20s, Elias Sinclair and Alex Sutton, and they both
Mhm.
are magic users and they both are FBI agents. And
Yep.
they were kind of forced, and you find this out in the story, they kind of forced to be in that profession. The underlying current of the story is you don't get to choose when you're a magic user sometimes what your job is. So out of that 30% of people that have magic, there's an even smaller percentage that are what I call specialists. They're very proficient, they're very powerful. And that's what Elias and Alex are. They're specialists in their, Elias is a memory magic specialist, and Alex is a combat magic user. And
Yeah.
they were paired up at when they met at the FBI Academy 6 years earlier. They were paired up and immediately hit it off. They have built a friendship and a bond like brothers.
Yeah.
But 18 months ago, that bond shattered when a case went wrong. People were killed. And Elias, he feels that it was his fault. His magic went sideways. And Alex got seriously injured, and he couldn't bear the thought of
Mhm.
that happening again, or worse, having Alex be killed. So he's basically severed their partnership, and they have been working
Yeah.
separately, but nowhere near as efficiently, and that's been noticed. And so my story starts
Yeah.
out with the magical terrorism that has come to Chicago, because these things tend to come to big cities in America, and
Yep.
they are forced to work together, and
Yep.
it kind of goes on a little roller coaster ride from there with a couple of twists and turns, and we wonder whether they're going to, their friendship is going to go back to where it was, or if they're going to be able to solve the crime, or what happens. And I can't say
Right.
too much more without giving the rest of the story away, I think.
But you don't want to give it away because honestly, I really appreciated the ride getting from the beginning to the end. So you went with urban fantasy with this novel.
Mhm.
What made you
Yeah.
decide to do a more realistic setting rather than the regular fantasy books that we see nowadays?
So I gave it a lot of thought because I love high fantasy and I love,
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, and, I'm a big Tolkien
Yep.
fan. But I thought for my first novel, I shouldn't be so ambitious, quite
Right.
honestly. Yeah, my very first, I have so many thoughts for stories in my head, so many. And the very first one that I started to write was actually science fiction, space opera. That will come, but
Ooh.
that's how this story started. And I
Oh,
realized I need more experience writing and world building, because it's honestly it's hard. And then I thought, well, but
yeah.
I want to write about these two guys. What can I do? And I realized, oh
Yeah.
well, why not put them in a present day setting where what would happen if magic was for
Yeah.
real? How would society react? What would the infrastructure
Yeah.
look like? Would it be
Yeah.
just like any other skill, or would there be factions that develop? And next thing I
Yeah.
knew, I was outlining the book, and I had completely gone down the urban fantasy bunny hole, and I'm still down in that bunny hole.
That's incredible. I actually thought it was very, very clever. I thought Alex was a really great character. Now, did you base him on anybody that you know?
Not any specific person. He's an amalgamation of traits that I personally like to see in
Yeah.
characters. And I needed a counterpoint to Elias, because Elias was that character that was stuck in my head. And so I needed his buddy to be that counterweight
Yeah.
for him. And so I wanted somebody that was loyal and trustworthy and strong, and, would die on that hill with him if he had to.
Yeah. Someone to compliment him in a
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
clever way. I thought it was brilliant. I also
Thank you.
thought that your title was absolutely perfect. Now, how did you come up with that and what was your inspiration behind it?
So I had a million different titles um, for the book, and I don't even remember what those titles were. But
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly how it came about. But in my book has epigraphs or epigrams, however people want to say them, for the chapters. And I wanted, I knew that the story was going to be
Yeah.
about memory magic and the effects of memory. And I um,
Yeah.
ended up naming one of the chapters after what became the title. It seemed like it was
Ah.
the one that complemented the book the most. And then it was also partially based
Yeah.
on the epigraph that I used for the book, for the introduction, not the introduction, but for the actual book, which is the Cicero, memory is the treasure and guardian of all things. So I thought, what can I do with the word memory? And then with
Yeah.
the double meaning throughout the book that readers will discover, that's where I came up with a combination of where memories lie. It's like, do they lie, or do they lie?
Yeah.
They do
I thought it
both.
was really clever. Yeah. I thought it
I
was
thought it
really
was clever
clever.
when I did it,
I thought
but
it was no, it was brilliant, and it set the stage well for me and didn't really give a lot of stuff away either. I thought it was really good. I really
okay.
enjoyed it. Now you went with this idea of merging the real world with the ancient magic. So you still had Fae in there, but it was a very small part of the whole story. Now what made you decide to kind of mash your genres that way?
I am impressed and shocked that you picked up on that because the word
Really?
"fae" and the "fae" is, think if I remember correctly, I mentioned it in one sentence in like
Yep.
chapter 3, and I may have mentioned it
Yep.
something during in the middle, and then I mentioned it in passing in the towards like the penultimate episode. That's how I look at my book, like a movie. So when you said that, I was like, wow, she picked up on that.
Did. I thought it was very clever because you still kind of incorporated what people are looking for in fantasy without it being the actual story, and I thought it was fabulous. That's why I spotted it. I was like, "That is genius writing right there."
Well, it's
Genius.
actually a seed for book 2.
Okay. Oh, clever. That was very clever. So you're gonna
Oh,
do
it's
more of the maybe less urbany, but more of the
uh,
fantasy side of it in the next one? You're not gonna give anything
sort
away, are you?
sort of. It's you're not there's not going to be any dragons, so I'm sorry for everybody who wants the dragons in the story. No dragons,
No dragon.
but there will be fae, but because I believe in mashing and busting through fantasy concepts and I wanted to do something different. It's not the fae aren't
Yeah.
what you think they are. And no, they're not
You
aliens.
did.
I'll give that away right now. But they're not going to be what
That's what I'm hoping. That's kind of
you know.
yeah. That's kind of what I thought you were gonna plan, was it was gonna be a more realistic way of
Mhm.
writing about the thing that is so common in fantasy books, and I guess I picked it up and I was like, "This is very exciting. This is very exciting." So are you a fantasy reader? Like, who's your favorite author in the genre if you read it?
I do read it. Nowadays, I watch it more than I read it. But my favorite, actually, Catherine Kurtz. If you
I
ever
don't
read
think I've read
Catherine
her.
Kurtz, she has because she
I
wrote
don't
this
think I've read
book.
her.
She wrote 12 books in like 1970.
No, I have
Yeah, they're fantastic. And
oh, wow.
I it's this one was the Bishop's Dare. It's the Derini Rising Chronicles. I think it's the Chronicle Derini Deryni. I recommend them. They're fantastic. They're not out of print, I don't think. They might be, but that was the first. I think that was the
Oh,
first
I
real
think I'll add them to
fantasy
my
that I.
list.
That was the first real fantasy author. I mean, she's like 80 something years old now, but I read her
Oh,
like 20
wow.
years ago. Yeah, I read her before I read Tolkien.
Well, I was like, I've never heard of her.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I'll add her to the list because I probably don't read as much fantasy as I should, so I should probably add her to my list. I'll have a look for her. But what book actually got you into reading?
It was the Dorini reading. Probably you're gonna find this funny.
Yeah,
When I was in high school, I read a lot of. I mean, I read Judy Blume. I think I read like stupid like kids books. But in my junior year of high school, I went
yeah,
to the library and I picked up a random book and I read it in one night. And that book was George Orwell's 1984.
nice.
And
Love that book. Love
which
that book. I always recommend that book.
for a 16-year-old, that was I loved it. I don't know why. But after that, it was like I was determined to find books that engrossed me to
That's
the point
heavy
where
for a
I
16-year-old.
yeah, yeah. But that was probably the book that got me into reading. And then I discovered the Catherine Kurtz series and then C.S. Friedman. And then from there it was, just these apparently these old authors that nobody remembers anymore.
That's really tragic when that happens, but I always love when people recommend books I've never heard of because now I can go looking and there's a good chance my library will have them. So I enjoy that. I want to talk about Alex and Elias. They have a really special relationship, and I don't just
Mhm.
mean because they have that magical bond. Did you base that partnership on something you had seen before, like maybe a brotherhood or a sisterhood in real life or in fiction? Because I was totally getting Mulder and Scully vibes from them, like their relationship, their friendship, and how they work together.
Uh, well, ironically, I think I was channeling Catherine Kurtz because her characters are two cousins that are
Oh,
that are very close, like brothers. And I think that that's always that aspect of that story of that series that always stuck with me, the wanting to develop on the idea of two guys that are close and are brothers. So I think that's subconsciously where I got that from.
that's so cool. That's so cool. It's funny because I can totally see your book being turned into a TV show or a movie. And if you could have anybody play Alex and Elijah, who would you pick?
I think I would. I've got two people in mind, but I think I would actually, if I had a say in something like that, I would want like complete strangers, complete new people to the acting to play them.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't want anybody.
Really?
I wouldn't want them to be associated with anybody new. But if I had to pick, um, what is his name? Jude Law's son, Rafferty Law
Oh.
for Elias.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I could
Um,
I could see
And
that.
I didn't even know I didn't even know Jude Law had kids. I mean, because if I could pick, I would pick Jude Law as a 20-something-year-old because I love him. I love him. And then I saw his son and it was like,
Brilliant.
he
Yeah,
looks just like
I
his
could see
son.
that too.
I mean, like a dad. I mean, Austin Butler,
Yeah,
maybe
he does. Yeah, he does.
for Alex, if you could do something with that hair. I mean, like tone the hair down because every time I see
Yeah,
him, he's got like that. I don't know what you
after the
call that,
implant.
but I think he
I
has
know
the acting
exactly what
chops to
you
do it.
mean. Think so as well. That's actually 2 very good picks. I completely agree with you. So what made you go the brotherhood route for this book instead of romance? Because this was a change of scenery for fantasy to go with brotherhood and not love.
I'm not a male female romance reader. I do like to read other kinds of romance between characters, like male
Okay.
male. I'm intrigued by I didn't want to do I mean, I don't know that I could write romance. I will find out in the next book when I give them girlfriends. But I don't see myself writing. It's not going to be like in your face kind of romance. I don't think I could do that. But I think that the intimacy between men is in some ways way more interesting than the intimate
Yeah.
relationships between men and women, which we all understand. I mean, most of us, a lot of us
Yeah.
understand male because we're
Believe it
married,
or not, I actually no, I was just gonna say that I actually thought that the brotherhood thing was actually quite refreshing. I actually found that I wasn't getting caught up in a romance
Yeah.
whirlwind. I was paying attention to what was going on in the story, and I thought it was very clever, and I was like, "This lady has nailed it for me," because now I'm not worried about their relationship breaking up because what you did in the beginning when you broke down their working relationship before this investigation started, I thought that was a really interesting take. Now, how important was it for them to have a break in their working relationship before they went back to getting back to working together? How important was it to the story?
It was critical because that was the whole for me, that was the story, was their relationship being broken. Could they repair that? And with Elias's declining mental health and his I mean, that was without that, it would have just been, two friends helping each other. It had to be that. Can they come back from what happened? Is Elias going to be able to, recover from that incident
Yeah.
and from his insecurities? And is Alice going to be able to forgive him for not even giving him a say in breaking up that friendship and just doing it? So yeah,
Yeah.
that was the nexus for the whole story was
Right.
that relationship had to break.
Yeah. I thought it was very clever. I thought it was a very, very good catalyst for how you started your story and how it progressed. Now, I think you're an excellent writer. Did
Thank
you
you.
always want to be an author?
I did. I always wanted to write, and I have written. I've always had blogs, travel blogs. I have a blog, Musings from the Last
Yep.
Frontier, that kind of went
Oh,
sideways with COVID because all our trips got canceled. But I started writing with
aw,
blogs, and I started writing fan fiction. I was a beta reader for fan fiction for Stargate
cool.
SG-1, big Stargate SG-1 fan.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
That is
Yeah, and so I helped several authors with because I was former military, so they were always needing somebody to help them with Air Force lingo and Air Force stuff. So,
oh,
I
cool.
saw their writing, and I was like, I want to do this, but I never knew what I wanted to write. And I've got a friend who's a published author of traditional and in nonfiction science, and he asked me a few years ago, what would you write about? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know that I want to write a memoir. I don't know that I want to write fiction, but I don't know. I've got so many ideas rattling around my head. I don't know what I would do. And, then a couple of years ago, I just started coming up with this idea. And so, yeah, I've always written, but never put it out there. So it's kind of scary.
I bet. I bet. But you know what? I really enjoyed it, and I'm really hard to please with fantasies, so you should be really proud of yourself.
Thank you.
So did you use an outline with your writing, or was it more of a chaotic process for you?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. Yes and yes. So when I first
Yeah.
started writing it, I found out the word pantser, didn't know what it
Oh,
was. To be seat of your pants kind of writer. I
yeah.
started writing it, and I didn't really outline it. I just started like throwing ideas out there onto paper, and I quickly realized that I was going down different bunny holes and I couldn't keep track. So I had to
Yeah.
force myself to sit down and start outlining, and did a little bit of research and found, the concept of the three-act structure. It's like, oh yeah, I remember learning something about this in college. Oh yeah, that's right. I was the one in college who would be writing my research papers the night before and never outlined them. And somehow I managed to get A's and B's. And it's like everybody was like, "Oh, you have to
Work there.
outline," and I was like, "No, you don't. You don't need to outline." So, um, halfway, about halfway through writing the first draft, there was three drafts.
Yeah.
Halfway through writing the first draft, I was like, I need to outline this motherfucker." Sorry.
Yeah. I bet. Like, how did you keep everything, like, in line? Like, you have to be able to keep your timeline straight and people's birthdays. Like, how did that work for you? Like,
So
trying to keep all that stuff straight.
it's in the book. You'll notice that I put timestamps on most of the chapters. All the chapters have dates and times.
I did
That
notice that.
started for me as a way to keep track of the story. And then it stayed in because I realized if I need to keep track of the dates, maybe the reader might too. Um, I actually started right. I looked at a calendar for this year and
I found it very handy.
I took the dates, actual dates, like made sure they were working during the weekday and Thanksgiving, which day it landed on. And then a couple of times I was like, oh, I just said 5 years, but it should be 6 years. And wait, how old is Elias again? So I had to start writing that down. I'm not doing that for book two. For book
Yeah,
two, I have
I
decided
bet.
to go with the 27 chapter outline, which is totally different, but I'm going to need
Oh,
it. And I started to do things right by completely outlining the book. And I use these notebooks. This is I shouldn't show this. This is my work notebook where at work when nobody's looking, I keep notes. It's bright yellow, so now everybody knows.
nice. I like
And then
that. I won't
I've
let your
got
secret out.
And then I've got this one I found this online and it's symbolic because this tree is going to mean something in the next book. Not this particular tree, but an oak tree.
Ooh,
And so I'm using this to have the actual outline.
nice.
And I lost my book, but I just bought that one. But I outline like this. I don't want to show too much of that.
Oh, cool.
And so I do it
No,
on
don't give your
paper.
secrets away. Take
I do it on paper, and then I've got like three notebooks. I've got
nice.
my work notebook where I write ideas down, and then I've got the green notebook, which is going to be the actual one and then it's got uh I'm getting my OCD is coming out, so I've got pens
It's
now.
okay.
That's going to be
No, oh,
green
nice.
for Alex. I'm sorry for
Ooh,
Elias for his magic is green, and I've got blue for Elias, and then I've got red for like don't do that. So I've got like six different colored pens that I'm going to use.
it's
And
probably how I'd have
yes,
to keep it all straight too.
I am perfectly aware that there are software programs out there that will let me plot online, and I have tried them, and I I love them for writing, but I can't, my creative brain, I found out needs to write, needs a notebook to write the ideas on and to outline.
Yeah.
I couldn't get anywhere doing it on my computer. It's weird.
It's not weird. That's me as well. I'm a Post-it person though. I have different colored Post-its and I have a board. So when I'm working on my
Yeah.
projects, that's how I roll. So I completely get that. I can't do it on a computer either. I can't. It's just not possible for me. Nope. Nope, nope, nope.
I
So I get it.
tried. I tried.
Well, you gave it a solid effort, but you gotta do what works for you, and I really appreciate that. When it comes to your creative process, it's personal, I think. It's very personal. So what's one thing that you wish you now knew before you started writing? Because this is quite the process. What's something you wish you'd known about it before you had started?
I wish I had known more about marketing and to market the book before you're even ready to publish it. As an indie author, I thought,
Yep.
well, I'll write it, and then a
That's
couple of
a
weeks before, I'll just
massive
start
one.
posting it, and then I started downloading books on my Kindle and about how to market your book, and it was like, oh, you start marketing it 4 months before, and I'm like, it releases in 3 weeks.
Yep.
Maybe I should start creating a new website. Maybe I needed. So I was on vacation the whole month of September in Spain, and the first 3 days I was there, bless my husband's heart. I'm not the first 3 months. The first 3 days I was there, I was creating a website. I was creating my socials outside of Facebook. It was
Wow.
just, that's the one thing I wish I'd known. I mean, I read about it, I knew it, but I didn't. I was so busy writing that it was like, oh, you don't really need that. And then I was like, no, yeah, you do. So I wish I'd hired which I will do for my second book, marketing director, somebody that will handle that side of things because
Right.
I can't. It's 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 too
It's
much.
a lot. It's a
Yeah,
full-time job. Writing is a
it
full-time
is.
job, and then marketing and social media is 2 full-time jobs on top of that, and you're
Yeah,
expected to do it all and still find time to talk to your readers. It's insane. I don't
yeah.
even know how you guys do it. I really don't. I really
Well, obviously I don't.
no, well, you know what? Next time round on your next book, you'll know to start all your planning
Yeah,
before you've even finished your first draft because it's
yeah,
important. It's
it
crazy.
is.
I guess I never thought before I become an ARC reader, I had no idea.
Yeah,
Like for me, it was like, oh, books coming out. That's exciting. You don't think about all the things that go on behind the scenes. It's crazy because it's a lot.
yeah,
What?
it is a lot.
I feel for you. I really do. But what does your writing routine look like? It is a lot. But what does your
Yeah.
writing routine look like?
So it started with writing just on the weekends. But in probably the last 5 or 6 months when I decided I need to finish this thing. I need to actually invest more time in it. I work 8:30 to 4:30, get
Yeah.
home by about 5. So I literally was coming home, changing out of my work clothes, getting in front of my computer, and from 5 to 9, I was writing. My husband does all the cooking, so I'd stop to eat,
Nice.
and I would write
Yeah.
every day till 9. And then on the weekends, I would get up before my husband. I would write for about 6 or 7 hours. Unfortunately for me, he was doing stuff around the house. He had projects that he needed to do.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we were going anywhere. We were going on vacation in September, but it was before that we weren't doing anything. But I was writing on the weekends. So my lunch breaks, I was not writing, but I was like thinking and planning. So for the last
Yeah.
6 months, it's been a full-time job.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I want to keep a journal this time around when I write the second book, as far as like how long it took me, because it was a full-time job.
Yeah. I believe that. I believe it. Like, I couldn't even imagine what you have to go through because I know a lot of indie authors tend to not have full-time jobs as well, or they work part-time, but you work a full-time job doing this. Like,
More than full-time because
and you're still expected.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's insane. Did you have to cut anything significant from your final version of this book?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to talk more about um towards the end you find out more about the the family history with Elias and Alex.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's the very, very, very end, like the last piece. And I wanted to
Yeah.
weave more of that, but it was like the book was going to try to be doing too much if I did that, and it was going to start introducing
Yeah.
things that were at this point were not really important to the book. But I got them ready for the next one, so I've got at least that
Yeah.
backstory done for the next one.
Good. I wanted to know all about their history. It was almost like you just dangled this tiny piece of like
Yeah.
food in front of me. And I was like, I need more. I need more. It was, you know what? I think you did the right thing cutting it because now
Yeah.
I'm thirsting for the next one. I can't wait for that. Can't wait for that.
I can't either. It's
I
stuck in
had
my
questions,
head.
but
You'll feel free to ask them
how
offline.
far along are you? Are you are you writing the next book already?
Yes, I have. That's what the green book that I showed you was for. That's the outline for the next book. And I have the entire story in my head. I have several pieces of dialogue in my head. I mean, like on the drive home this morning from my appointment,
Nice.
I was going through a dialogue of a scene that just came to my mind. And I couldn't write it down because I was driving on the highway.
Yeah.
So I need to get a recorder.
No.
So I know.
You
It's so
should.
it's I've got the outline. Like I said, I already know it's going to be the 27, what do they call it? The 27 chapter outline. It's intriguing. For anybody who hasn't
Yeah.
looked at the 27 chapter, it breaks it down into 9 blocks. So it's almost like a nested
Okay.
um 3 arc inside of every act. It's exactly what I needed. So yeah, I've started to write it, but it's months away.
Yeah,
It's
I
months
bet.
away.
It's gonna be a process. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
process.
And it's going to be a lot more. There's a lot more happening, and it's they they are not in Chicago, and they're in a new location. So
Oh,
at the end of the book, they are transferred out um, somewhere else, and other things happen to them, and it becomes more, in some ways, a little bit more traditional fantasy in what happens to them. There will be Fae. So
nice.
whenever there's Fae, there's always strange
Okay,
happenings.
that's exciting. I'm really
Yeah,
excited to see where the story goes next.
I am too.
So I have one question. I bet, but you have control over where it goes. I'm just gonna
No,
have
I
to wait and see
don't.
what you
No,
do.
I don't. My characters really did write themselves. They really did write
Yeah,
themselves. They told me where they were going. Yeah.
that's handy for you. You got some backseat
Yeah.
drivers coming along for the ride too.
Yeah.
There. It's awesome. So I have one question to ask about how you treat your books. Do you dog ear or do you use a bookmark? Are you
Bookmark.
civilized?
Yes. God, no. Oh,
You
I would
use
just face a
I
book by
oh,
dog it.
no, just use a piece of paper if you can't find a bookmark. Oh, it's like it's one of the worst things. And I'm doing like a poll right now to see how many people dog ear and how many people use bookmarks. And it's actually quite scary how many people will literally put their book, crack the spine, and put it face down. I'm
Oh,
like, God, no, no. Don't do it. Now, to wrap up this episode, what we do is a little this or that, and we'll do it literary edition. So, you ready?
okay.
I'm going to give you two
Yeah.
choices. You have to pick one.
Okay.
Okay. Hardcovers or e readers?
E-readers, because I travel a lot, but I love hardcovers, but it has to be e-readers.
Yeah. You know what? I used to be very anti e reader because I'm like, oh, book purist. Now I have a Kindle and I have to say, I actually adore it because I can
Hmm.
fit it in my purse and I
Yeah.
have all the books I need. And if I'm bored, I can send books to it while I'm out. It's awesome. I don't
Right.
know why
Yeah.
more people don't invest. It's perfect. And you don't even have to
Hmm.
spend a lot of money. You can get some really cost effective ones.
Hmm.
I already kind of know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you prefer pen and paper for writing or a laptop?
Pen and paper.
Yeah. I kind of figured that when you said that you like to do your notes that way, that if you could, you probably would write it all on paper like that. I love that. It's very authentic. Are you more of a morning writer or a night owl?
Night owl. My whole life.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm neither. I do not like mornings. It takes me ages to wake up and I like going to bed early. Can't help it. I'm that person. I'm that exhausted pigeon. That's what they say, right? Morning person, evening person, exhausted pigeon.
I
Are
never
you
heard
more
that.
Yeah, that's a thing, and that I feel that with my soul. I'm that exhausted pigeon. Nothing suits me. Are you more of a research or inspiration writer?
I'm going to go with inspiration. Well, it's inspiration, but inspiration leads to research, and then I go down the
Yeah,
bunny hole of research. And it's like, do I really need to know all this? So I'm going to go with inspiration.
nice. I kind of figured that. I thought I'd ask. Do you prefer mountains or beaches?
Well, I live in Alaska, and I'm sick and tired of mountains. And I want
I
beaches.
live in the Rocky Mountains. I am with you.
I
I
want
am
beaches. I want
100% with
warm
you.
weather and warm water.
I used to live like I'm from the UK, so my hometown was right on the sea, and I hated it when I lived there, and now I
Yes,
regret leaving. Like the mountains look nice for about a week, and then you need less mountains. Are you more of a coffee drinker or a tea drinker?
coffee. I'm an American. Coffee. Coffee for sure.
Yeah, nice. Summer or winter?
Depends what continent.
That is a brilliant answer. No one's come up with that one yet. I love that.
Well, I said I live in Alaska, so here is summer. If I'm in the south of France or Spain, winter. So I don't like the heat, but I don't like the cold either. I like
Yeah.
68-degree
You know
temperature,
what?
exactly 68-degree temperature.
That's no, that was a really
It's a little cycle. I know. It's okay.
see, you know that. I
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
quite like being cozy. I like that. That was a really smart answer. That was brilliant. Do you prefer a quiet place to study or a busy cafe?
Quiet. Leave me alone. Quiet place.
Quiet.
Quiet. Definitely a quiet place.
So I'm gonna guess that you're probably more a stay-at-home person than travel then.
No, I'm big on travel. Huge travel. I know. I'm a contradictory in terms.
Yeah? You just like to be left alone when you travel?
No, I like to be left alone when I'm writing. When traveling, I love
Ah.
traveling. We travel a lot. I love to travel. I like to travel to places that are quiet.
Oh, I love nice. I get that. No rowdy tourists for you. Are you more of a cat person or a dog person?
Cats, for sure. Cat. Little handmaidens of Satan.
Yeah.
I love little cats. Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, they are. Well, yeah, they are. And they're not ashamed either. They don't care. Cats do
Mm-mm.
what cats do. Are you more of a character driven person or plot driven for your stories?
Character driven, I think. Maybe. Character driven.
Yeah,
It
I
has to
could,
have a
the way
plot, but
you
it's
write,
character
I,
driven.
I
Yeah.
completely agree
Yeah.
with that. Yeah. I knew you were going to say that because of how you wrote your book, because they were very, very good characters.
Thank you.
Are you more for happy endings or bittersweet conclusions?
Happy endings. Happy endings.
Really?
I don't like
Nice.
being left depressed at the end of what's supposed to be an escape. And I would never leave
Yeah.
a reader feeling sad or depressed because it's like I feel like reading is your escape. So why would I? I'm not. I mean, I leave that to George R. R. Martin. Kill off all the characters and end with everybody dead on stage. It's like, yeah, no, no,
Or
yeah,
George
no.
R. R. Martin just doesn't finish books anymore, or not series anyway.
Well, if you were a multimillionaire from your story, you wouldn't either.
No, but I kind of would have liked to know if the TV show follows where he was heading or whether he's going in a different direction. I just don't know how long he expects me to wait.
Yeah, I agree. I did not
Been
like
a
that
long
ending.
time. No, no, I
No.
did not. What's worse for you, having reader's block or writer's block?
I've never had either, so I don't know.
Really? Well, you're
No,
lucky.
but I'm gonna say I probably would have a problem with writer's block. I can always find something to read, but if I had writer's block, I'd have a problem, especially if I haven't finished my next book.
I can believe that. I can believe that. I've had a time in my life where no, every book I picked up, I just couldn't. I couldn't. And it didn't matter what genre it was. I just couldn't get past a few chapters. It was absolutely horrible. I've actually had writer's block writing reviews, which is kind of strange because it's just a review, but that's actually happened
Right,
to me. I'm
yeah. Well,
like, I don't know what I'm supposed to write here. Yeah, it's absolutely horrible.
I try to pick up books that I'm gonna finish. So if I read the blurb or I read the intro and it doesn't sound like it's gonna interest me, I generally don't start them. So maybe that's why I don't have reader's block, because I don't take the chance.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I
Have to
think it was just
explore
my
that one.
mood at that time. I think it was more a mood thing for me. I just couldn't quite get my head around sitting to read. I think it might have just been
Yeah.
just a moment in time for me, but it was probably the worst 6 weeks of my life because I just couldn't settle for anything.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, it was horrible. It hasn't happened to me since Touchwood, but I hope it never happens again. But yeah, it was horrific. I had a big pile of DNF books. I've read them now,
Oh,
but
no.
during that time, oof, no.
I can't imagine.
No. I didn't even know it was a real thing. I thought it was just, yeah, apparently it's a thing. I did not know that. Yeah. Crazy, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And the last question I have for you is, do you prefer originality for your writing or reader expectations? So do you feel like you're going to be original to yourself, or are you kind of following where you think your readers want you to go?
I'm going where I want to go. If the readers want to follow, they're welcome on the journey. But
Right.
I'm writing for myself and for my characters. And if the readers like it, they like it. If they don't, I wrote a book that I can read in the
Per
future.
perfect answer. I think that if you are not following the original plan for your story, no amount of you doing what readers want is gonna fix
Yeah.
that for you. So, I'm really glad that you said that. I'm really glad that you said that. Well, obviously, right now you are working on book 2. It's gonna be a while yet, but what I thought I would do is give you the chance to tell everybody where they can find you on your social medias and where people can find your book to buy. Because honestly, I obviously have been reading quite a lot of indie authors lately. Yours was my favorite, hands down. Your book has been my favorite. So tell people where they can buy this and where they can find you
Thank you.
online.
It's on Amazon. It's on Kindle and paperback on Amazon for at least another couple of months. And I am going to put it up on uh, Ingram Spark so that it can be sent out to as a paperback to Barnes and Noble. And there's a bookstore locally, I won't name
Oh,
it, that has expressed an interest. So if you're in Alaska, you might be able to get it in person. But for right now, it's on Amazon. And my website is www.irene-lee.com. And in every other social media is, I had to write it down because I'm terrible at remembering my own handle. And it's like freakishly easy. Author Irene Lee. But I'm on
I
Instagram. I'm on Threads. I just, against my better judgment, I just opened a TikTok account. Gosh. And I spent 20 minutes
TikTok.
looking at things and it's like, what is it? So I'm on all of that and it's all under author Irene Lee. So I got lucky. There's nobody else using that handle. My website will be
Good.
have regular updates. It doesn't have a blog aspect to it now, but I probably will. You can sign up for a
Nice,
newsletter
easy.
there. And I, depending on what readers want, I will excerpts of what I'm writing, maybe some ideas,
Nice.
and I've got some characters up on Amazon on the right below my book. You can see what my perception of the characters are.
Nice.
And yeah, Amazon lets you do that now. And so I did. And so I will be doing some more of that. I'd like to see more of that on my website, give people an idea of what I think the
That's
different things in the book look like, you know, the thing in my book that drives the story. I'd like to put that in, on my webpage. I almost give it away there.
I love that. Keeping us all up to date. Oh, keeping us all up to date on what's going on. I love it when authors do that. It's one of my favorite
Yeah.
things. Getting little teasers every now and again.
Mhm.
I'm very excited for that. I will definitely be following along. Is there anything else you want my listeners to know before we sign off for the evening?
I just hope that everybody gives it a chance. It's not your regular fantasy story with the dragons and witches and incantations. But if you're looking for a story that has, um, two really wonderful guys, buddy relationship, buddy romance with a little magic thrown in, I hope you give it a chance. You might.
Think everybody will. I really did. And I don't read a lot of urban fantasy, but I think you've made me a believer. This is something I'm gonna dig more into, more urban fantasy for sure. And I absolutely love the cover. I think whoever designed your cover is an absolute genius. Beautiful.
Thank you. It wasn't me. It was Saltwater Graphics designed that cover with an element, that Celtic element is my husband.
Yeah.
He does digital design as a hobby, and she was
Yeah.
able to incorporate that into the cover
Oh, it was
of the story
beautiful.
since some of the story has something to do with Celtic artifacts. So there's a little teaser there.
No, it was perfect. I thought it was absolutely charming. I
Thank
really
you.
hope that you find some new readers for your book. I'm hoping that my listeners will go out and grab a copy of your book. I'm highly recommending it. I actually gave you 5 stars, and I very rarely do that,
Oh,
just so
thank
you know.
you.
Your book was a
Thank
5 star
you.
for me. And it
Thank
actually hit
you.
my top 10 of the year. And I didn't expect
Oh,
that. I
wow.
did not expect any of these.
Wow.
Yeah, you hit my top 10 of
Oh,
the year. So you should be
oh
really
gosh, I'm
proud of
honored.
yourself because
I am.
I've read a lot of books this year. Yeah, so
Thank you.
congrats on that. I'm going to be posting you all over my socials over the next week, and hopefully we can get you some new readers. And if people have any questions for you, they can find you on your socials or they can find me on mine. You can find me on Instagram at The Adulteress, or You can find me on TikTok at Ladulterous. I have a Facebook page at Ladulterous. You can find my YouTube channel at Ladulterous. And you can also find me on Spotify. If you just type in Ladulterous into the search bar, you can find me there as well. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, Irene, and I'm so glad that you trusted me to read your book. And I really hope that we can chat again closer to the time of your next book coming out, and we can
Absolutely.
get a head start on your marketing for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. We really hope that you have a great reading weekend, guys. And me and Irene will catch you another time. Take care.